ever wonder how cities like actually survive? And I'm not talking about having the trendiest restaurant or the coolest, vintage clothing store. I'm talking essential survival, like water magically coming out of the tap or toilets making waste disappear poof like magic.
Yeah.
So today's deep dive is all about folks working behind the scenes to make modern life possible. Water Network Operatives. We've got a ton of info here from RoleCatcher, and we're gonna, well, I was gonna say dive right in.
Right into the depths.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's more like crawling through some, well, let's just say interesting places to uncover what this career is all about.
It really is a hidden world, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, most people don't even think twice about what's happening beneath their feet, this
Mm.
whole network of pipes and pumping stations.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Totally. But like the RoleCatcher guide points out, without these water network operatives,
Yeah.
our modern lives would come to a screeching halt.
No pressure on these folks,
Yeah.
right? But, okay, the guide keeps mentioning maintaining these systems, which seems, I don't know, kind of vague. Can you, paint a picture for us? What are they actually doing day to day?
Okay, so imagine a city's water network like our circulatory system.
Right.
We need healthy veins and arteries for our bodies to function, right?
Right.
And cities need clear working pipes for everything to run smoothly.
Yeah.
Water network operatives are the ones clearing blockages, often working deep underground in those pipes.
So not always, how do I put this delicately, not always the most glamorous work environment.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
The guide talks about working in these cramped tunnels. Sometimes you have to squeeze through tight spots to reach a problem area,
I'm already feeling claustrophobic.
and it doesn't stop there. They're also the ones inspecting aging pipes, repairing those leaks before they turn into those geysers you see shooting up from the street. And of course, making sure clean water gets where it needs to go,
Hmm.
and the wastewater is
Yeah.
taken care of.
So it's a good dose of problem solving with a side of potential claustrophobia.
You could say that, but the RoleCatcher guide is clear that it's not just about physical strength, although that's definitely needed. You need serious problem-solving skills, and you got to stay calm under pressure.
Oh, I bet. Because a burst water main doesn't care if it's 3:00 a.m. on a Friday night.
Exactly. Well, for starters, let's talk job security.
Yeah.
I mean, water isn't exactly, a luxury item.
It's essential.
Exactly. And the RoleCatcher data really emphasizes this, projecting a 15% increase in water network operative jobs over the next decade.
Wow, that's a lot higher than average.
Way faster than average job growth, which is, really saying something in this economy.
That's a relief to hear. Okay, so job security check. And it's not just about holding on to a job. The guide also mentioned good pay, even for those without, that traditional 4-year college degree.
Absolutely. This is a field where you can earn a really good living while learning on the job, and you're building valuable, in-demand skills.
That's huge.
It is. And, beyond the financial stability, you're making a real difference, a tangible difference. You're contributing to public health, ensuring clean water for everyone.
Right.
And let's not forget environmental protection.
Right.
Keeping those pipes in tip-top shape helps prevent leaks, conserve water.
Okay, but we have to address the elephant in the sewer system here. We've talked about the demanding work conditions, those middle of the night emergencies. What else should potential water network operatives, what else should they brace themselves for?
Well, those confined spaces we talked about, sometimes those spaces aren't exactly, how do I put this, pristine.
You're saying there might be some unpleasant sights and smells involved.
Let's just say it's not for the faint of heart.
So if you're someone who faints at the sight of a clogged drain, maybe this isn't the career path for you.
You got it. It's not for everyone, that's for sure. But for those who can handle it, the work is incredibly rewarding. And speaking of rewards, one thing that really stood out to me in the RoleCatcher guide was the career progression.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Where can it take you?
Well, it's actually quite structured. So you might begin as a trainee, right, learning the ropes alongside more experienced operatives.
Makes sense.
From there, you can progress to, become a fully qualified water network operative, then a senior operative, taking on more responsibility, more complex tasks.
And then eventually you could even become a supervisor, leading a whole team. I really liked how the guide included those real-life profiles, of people at each stage. It's one thing to just hear about potential growth, but seeing those examples makes it feel more, tangible, more achievable.
Absolutely. And it shows that you can climb that ladder based on experience and dedication,
Yeah.
even without that traditional college degree.
Right.
And speaking of which, Even though this is a very hands-on field, technology is really changing the game. Remember that whole city as a circulatory system
Mm.
analogy?
Yeah.
Well, imagine being able to give that system a high-tech health checkup.
Oh, you're talking about those cool tech advancements the guide mentioned. Right, like it's not just shovels and wrenches anymore, huh?
Not at all. We're talking sophisticated sensors that can actually detect leaks before they're even visible.
Right.
They can pinpoint the leak's location, even analyze water quality in real time.
That's amazing.
It's pretty amazing
So
stuff.
you're not just fixing pipes, you're on the cutting edge of water infrastructure technology.
Exactly. And it really highlights how important continuous learning is in this field. The guide mentions workshops, industry publications, even online forums where water network operatives can stay updated on the latest tech, best practices.
So it's a career that keeps you on your toes. Literally.
Yes.
And figuratively. But, okay, let's say someone listening is like, all right, I'm in, I want to do this. How do they go from, curious listener to actually becoming a water network operative? Does RoleCatcher have, advice for that too?
They do. They have a whole section on interview prep, which is full of helpful tips, including some really interesting interview questions that potential employers might ask.
Oh, I love this part. Okay, let's put on our hiring manager hats for a second. Here's one that caught my eye. How do you prioritize tasks in a fast-paced environment? And I'm not talking about, deciding what show to binge watch next. This is high stakes.
It is. Think about it. A major water main break. You've got multiple tasks all demanding your attention at the same time, and they're all urgent. A good answer here shows that you can think quickly, that you're adaptable, that you can stay calm under pressure. You need to show that you can assess the situation, prioritize effectively, delegate if you need to.
Right. Right. And what about the customer service aspect of this role? It's easy to forget that behind every faucet, every toilet, there's a person who needs these systems to, just work.
Absolutely. And that's why I thought this next question from the RoleCatcher guide was so interesting. How do you ensure customer satisfaction when working on water network projects? It's not just about, fixing the problem. It's about how you interact with those affected by the problem.
Okay, so we've been down, way down into the depths of a city's circulatory system.
We've been there.
We've explored all the pros and cons of being a water network operative.
The good, the bad, and the, let's say, fragrant.
Exactly. And we even got some tips on how to ace those job interviews.
Prepped and ready to impress.
But before we close this chapter, I think we need to leave our listeners with something to think about, right? Some food for thought.
Oh, I like that. Food for thought. Well, this whole deep dive has been about what we don't see every day, right? That hidden world beneath our feet, the infrastructure that keeps everything flowing smoothly.
Right.
So here's my challenge for you, dear listener.
Hit us with it.
Think about the water in your own life.
Yeah.
Your own personal water journey. Where does your water come from? Is it a reservoir miles and miles away, or a river, or, maybe even a well in your backyard?
Good question.
Right. And then think about this. Where does it all go after it goes down the drain?
Another good one.
It's kind of a fascinating journey when you think about it. And honestly, I think if you learn just a little bit about your local water system, it'll give you a whole new appreciation for the work that water network operatives do.
I bet. I mean, we're so used to having clean water right there,
Wow.
At our fingertips.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that it doesn't just magically appear.
Exactly. There's a whole team of dedicated people working behind the scenes to make it happen.
Behind the scenes and often way below the surface.
That's right.
Well, huge thanks to RoleCatcher for giving us all the intel for this deep dive. Seriously, you guys are awesome.
Couldn't have done it without them.
And of course, to you, the listeners, thanks for coming along on this journey with us. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.